Hello everybody, my name is Kind Cruelty and welcome to another Stella Sora video. In this video we'll be going over all the misinformation that has been spread about Stella Sora. Now I will preface this video by saying that the game is expensive, but it's not as expensive as people make it out to be. There's a lot of lies that people have spread, a lot of misinformation that has been spread by a lot of people. Big content creators have spread a lot of misinformation about this game, but it is fine. We will be going over everything in this video. I will preface the video by saying that I do believe the game is expensive, but if we are going to criticize the game, let us criticize it with the right reasons, not with lies or misinformation that we just pick up or that people are spreading all over the internet. So to start things off, I'll start with the $100 equals 30 pools debate. That is absolutely a lie. They say that after you spend, they've been removing the first time bonus, right? And they say that after you spend, basically you buy, it will be all gone. The bonus will be all gone. Well, this is the second time bonus. This is the second time bonus. This is after the first time bonus. So there is still a bonus down there. If you look at it quite closely, there is still a bonus of 5,130. You're probably saying, okay, that doesn't feel like much. What does that give you? That actually gives you, in terms of Stella Sora's currency, 45 pulls. Now, $100 for 45 pulls isn't anything to write home about, but it isn't 30 pulls. And it is more in line with most of the gachas that we have. Most gachas will give you 45 pulls for $100. Now, I will admit there are cheaper gachas, but saying that Stella Sora is the most expensive one is a very, very bold-faced lie. Like, that is it's misinformation. Let me call it misinformation. But $100 will not give you 30 pulls. We shall continue. One of the lies that has been spread about the game, or the misinformation that has been spread about Stella Sora, is that it's more expensive than games like Genshin Impact. Now, please note, this isn't even taking into account that the 5-star rate for Stella Sora is, 2%? This is not taking that into account. This is just taking into account the fact that pools, 45 pools, are $100, which is cheaper than some gachas. Let me not say most. Most, it's equal to basically most gachas that are out there. The second thing that has been spread is that it's more expensive than gachas like Genshin, yet it doesn't offer that high of a quality. I'll also start this by saying that the calculation I'm about to show you is basically going to show you a comparison of Stella Sora's gacha system with that of Genshin Impact. Now, I believe Stella Sora should be way cheaper than Genshin Impact. I will admit that Stella Sora should be way cheaper, but to say it is more expensive is just spreading misinformation. Now, the game has been ravaged by the misinformation. It sadly has been, but that can't be helped right now. I know I'm making this big, but I'm probably going to trim the sides, so I'm just going to bring it back to this. Thinking about it, the current screenshot I'm capturing is not the normal standard YouTube size. So, this basically is comparing the average dollar per 5-star limited character. The average dollar per 5-star limited character without the first time bonus spent. So if Stella Sora was really basically $100 for 30 pulls, then we should be spending, 30, 60, 90, 120. We should be spending 4 times that. We should be spending $400 for a 5-star, which I'm sure you've heard that going around. $400 for a 5-star, that's way too expensive. That is a bold-faced lie. So this is the calculation, basically showing that those are the pulls you get with each purchase for the $100 pack. And then those are the 300 rands per pool. And this is the 1.25% consolidated chance to get a 5-star character per limited pool. So that is the calculation to basically get it to 100%. How many of those 1.25s would you need? And then you multiply it by the pools. So with the 300 currency per pool, you would need 176. That is the average dollar you would need to get a pool. $176. That's what you would need. Now for Genshin Impact, under the same system with their consolidated rate of 1,103 would give you 179. Now I know $3 is nothing. You could say 4 because of the 0.5, but $3 is nothing in comparison. But note, this calculation does not take into account the fact that with Stella Sora, if you win the 50-50, right? If you win the 50-50, the next one, it doesn't take into account that the next one is that much more cheaper. So the initial 120, this would drop the average for Stella Sora a lot more if we actually considered the initial 120. This is actually only considering the 160, which happens after you get the first 120. So the calculation here inflates the average of Stella Sora a bit, but it is still considering that after the 120 it goes to 176. We'll keep it there. It could be lower. The average should be lower, in fact, but we'll keep it there. This game is not more expensive than Genshin Impact. People have been saying that. That is false. We see it here. It is not much more expensive. But then it goes back to the point I was saying. Should this game be more or less equal to Genshin Impact? No, I do not believe this game should be more or less equal to Genshin Impact, as we are talking about two different scale of games. One I would categorize as AAA, like AAA game, and then the other I'd say maybe double AA game, you know? So given the prices should be less for this one, of which it is, and it could be even less than this if you take into account the first 120. But yes, that is it. And to sort of explain these rates that you see stated here, the consolidated chance, this is, if you read down the gacha system, it will tell you that the current limited is guaranteed within 160, which is 2,25, and then the comprehensive rate, including guarantees of obtaining the current limited, is 1,25. So that is basically the consolidated rate for Genshin Impact. Oh, this is showing the amount that you're getting and the bonus, which is without the top up, the first rate bonus, which is basically double that, without that. And then for Genshin, the consolidated probability is 1,103. So from the banner that you can get. So this shows that we have a cheaper rate, if that's a better way to explain it, of obtaining a faster, and it could be lower if you drop the averages. Now here's what happens when a new game launches. The hype of that game will push the game, right? But if the game does a mistake or is seen as bad, like for an example, $100 for 30 pulls, that will be basically the main idea. The many videos will go out about the game being not free to play friendly, greedy, and those videos will trend because negativity actually sells. Drama sells. Drama will sell, and the content will, get a lot of likes, views. People who don't play the game and when playing the game will then decide to say, this game is trash, this game's very greedy, under false pretenses, because that's the misinformation. And when those people are actually wrong, trust me, very few of them will go back to say, I was wrong about the gacha rates of this game, I was wrong about the costs in this game. Granted, Stella Sora has its downsides, has its negatives. I believe this should be cheaper, 1. 2, I believe the monthly pass should give more currency. It shouldn't just be, what's the word I'm looking for? It shouldn't just be the 11 pulls. I'm sure you've had something like 9, it's actually 11, but it is what it is. It shouldn't just be the 11 pulls. I believe the BP skin, the Battle Pass skin, should not be a 2D model. It should change the character as well. Those are the problems that Stella Sora has, but then they are blown out of proportion. Yes, the gacha is greedy, but then it's being made into such a big deal as opposed to what it actually is. There's even some false narratives running. So it is unfortunate that this has been the state of the launch. Like, the game is really good. If you are basically on the fence on whether or not you should try out this game, you probably should. I know that most people are looking for Duet Night Abyss soon, but this is a really great side game that you can enjoy that isn't as greedy as people expected it to be. It is expensive, but not as greedy as people expected it to be. And we don't even know the monthly pool income. This game hasn't been here for a week. It hasn't been here for a week, and people are already saying you get less currency a month. By what pretense? If you're just basing it on the monthly pass, then fine. But we don't know what the game will give us in terms of currency. So a lot of writing off of this game has happened before anyone actually knows. Before anyone actually got the information that, oh no, this game gives you this much per month, including events. No one knows that. It's only been a couple of days. But many people have written off the game. But hey, it is what it is. I'm free to play, so I'm not really affected by the price. So, but then I just wanted to clear out the misinformation and basically bring this information to anyone who felt like, oh no, this game is trying to milk me for everything. It's more expensive than Genshin Impact. Each pool, $100 gives you 30 pulls. That is all false. 45 pulls, which is, I understand, the average for many gachas in the industry. Whether you believe that it should be that or it should be less expensive, that's a totally different conversation. But that misinformation is now out. That's it for the video. For more content like this, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.